I'm going to be competing in the 7-day roguelike challenge. Or, I guess by the time you already watched the video, I will have competed because it'll be over, but anyways. For those of you who don't know, the 7-day roguelike challenge is where you have 7 days to build an entire roguelike from start to finish. It's kind of in the name. Now, it's important to note that the 7-day roguelike challenge is a challenge, not a competition.
No grades? Oh, so it is pass-fail?
No.
The goal is to just make an entire complete roguelike from start to finish in just 7 days. And so things like using pre-generated code and assets and having an idea of what you're going to be made isn't outlawed, banned, it's actually encouraged, and that's what we're going to be doing. And with that in mind, I'm going to make a base project just so I have something to start with when the actual 7-day challenge begins. And I'm not going to make any actual code or functioning of the actual game because I feel like that would be approaching on cheating, but what I'm going to be doing is making the basic menu system, which is honestly something I should have done a long time ago because I set up the same system for every single one of my games, so having a base project to start with only makes sense. So first thing I want to do is get rid of some of these old folders, because before 2.3 you had to have them, it was forced, but now they are only a suggestion. You can have whatever your asset tree look, whatever you look, and so we're going to get rid of a bunch of the ones I'm not going to use. Okay, that should be everything. I mean, I got the framework for the menu all built out, the template, and I got the plan for the game all planned out, made checklists and everything. So there really is nothing else to do other than just get started on the game. I started out my first day by making my game art. Now, there's a bajillion and one ways to make game art, but I started personally with making the in-game sprites for the cards, because I knew that looking at my list, that would be the smallest detail I want to include, and so everything else would be scaled with that one detail in mind. From there I drew the player's hand, his body, and added some shading to really bring the sprite together. With the player done, I drew the rest of the in-game art, most notably the magic and the enemies. After finishing up the in-game art, it was time to work on the card art for the GUI. And damn, I know it's already dead, but put it out of its misery, God! The only aspect of art I didn't get done on day one was the animations, because how am I gonna draw animations for something that's not even in the game yet? Which actually brings us straight on to... With day 2, I had one goal in mind. Get all of the magic cards in the game. So, I started off with a player object. Then I made the card deck and card drawing mechanics. And I made it so the player could use the cards. But I realized if I was going to have card effects, I needed something to test them on. Okay, so we've got this basic test dummy in the game, and this is just so I have something to actually, test the cards against, because I have to have something to test the cards against, and I'm not going to implement the enemies just yet. And I do have to give them some basic AI, so let's just come into here, add event, create event. It was at this point I realized, this is my game, and I can name it whatever I want. With the test dummy in the game, it was time to start working on the magic attacks. Personally, my favorite is the ice attack, and I think it speaks for itself why.
I know. Freeze.
The only one I had any difficulty implementing was the spirit attack, because I just couldn't get the homing behavior to work properly. And after what had already been a long day of programming, That one kinda broke me. But eventually, I got it working. It's in the game. You could go use it. And with magic attacks done, I finished out the night by working on the room a little bit. Day 3 was all about getting the rest of the core mechanics complete. I made some gateways that would only open if all of the enemies were dead, and walking through them would lead you to different options. Then I put together the actual selection screens, first with the art, then the description in your hand, and finally allowing you to actually select the options. Now, with the ability to choose a new addition at the end of each round, it was time to start working on the actual rounds. First with a wave spawning mechanic, because each round was comprised of 3 to 5 waves, and then adding the first actual enemy to the game. And I'm not just here to toot my own horn, but that attack animation? Chef's kiss. And I finished up the day by giving the player the ability to die and making sure the game actually properly reset. And with day 3 finishing out, the core gameplay was complete. Day 4 was all about the music, and I'm just gonna let the footage speak for itself here. I've never really made music before, but I was in choir for 4 years of high school, so I think it'd be cool if we had something like the bass line was on quarter notes like bum 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 bum, and then we had something like the melody was on like 8th notes or 16th notes. It was like bum 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 bum, and then they would at the bridge they would just like line up, so it'd be like bum 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 bum. Why does that sound familiar? Wait a second.
Close your eyes, shut your mouth, dream a dream and get us out. Dream, 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 dream.
Son of a bitch. Bum 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 bum. Okay, that's Incredibles. Bum 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 bum. That's Nightmare Before Christmas. Bum bum bum. That's Spider-Man. This isn't working. I need to get my ukulele out. Okay, so clearly I have zero musical talent when it comes to just coming up with melodies on the fly, and everything I've done has been something else. Maybe I'm gonna just try playing something on my ukulele, strumming chords, and something has gotta come to me, right? Is come running home to you. I ended up reusing the music from Corn Maze Craze and borrowing some sound from freesound.org. At this point, my game was complete. Now, all I had to do was... I spent the rest of the jam working on my PB&Js. You know, my polished balance and juice, and my stretches. As of right now, it is my last full day to work on the game jam, so we are gonna and we still got a whole list of things to do, so let's just... Let's do this! Okay, we're gonna make the room a little bit more interesting. We're gonna add in some pillars, just for visual effect, but also the enemies will avoid them. They're obstacles, you could hide behind them. And because they're walls, enemies can collide with them, and if you've got the win card, you could give them the old Zuko treatment. I wanted to make the final enemy an upgrade of the swordsman, and to show he was really strong, I decided instead of giving him a basic sword, to give him something really heavy, like a tree. I wonder where I got this idea from. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is it. It is the last day of the game jam, at least for me, because I started last Saturday. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That's 7 days. Sorry if I'm being weird or talkative. It's because I have had 5 hours of sleep. Yeah, that was fun. Before I went to bed and I inevitably passed out, I wrote down everything I still have to do. So, as of right now, when I launch the game at 6 p.m., 6 hours to go, I still have to do a menu art, like actual art, so it's not just boxes and squares. I need to do a tutorial so people understand how to play. And rework the card descriptions, because knockback go brrr is not a good card description. Okay, we got 4 hours left. I just need to make the tutorial, make the itch.io page, rework the card descriptions, add in all the icon art and other few missing assets, and there's just a few other small things. There's a lot to do and I don't have any time. With the end of the jam closing in, it was time to do a final playthrough and submit. I probably should have done a few more playthroughs than just one, because there were a few simple bugs that made it through, and I'm not exaggerating when I say all these bugs took a single line of code to fix once I realized they were actually broken. But alas, I had had enough caffeine in the past 24 hours to kill a small horse or horse-adjacent animal, and I was crashing harder than the Toa Mari back in 2007. At the end of the day, I'm not too unhappy with what I submitted. So let's talk about that. Personally, I really like my game. It's got a cool concept and mechanics, it's well polished and complete, and the later rounds really get tense at some points. Now, it's not a perfect game, there are some issues. It's not really well balanced, but it's in favor of the player, so the game's, at least in my opinion, a little bit too easy. And obviously there were some bugs that I've already fixed, small ones. But the most major issue was with the player's card hand and passives being mixed into it. Made it really inconvenient for people who aren't used to the game. So with that said about the game in its current state, let's talk about... I'm going to release at least one update for this game, and that'll be dropping sometime next week. I've already got it done. I'm just sending it out to a few beta testers to get some last minute feedback. I don't know if I'll keep working on the game past this update, so I really want it to be as good as I can make it. And this is where you guys come in. You can play the game right now for free, links in the description. And if you guys want to see me keep working on this game, you can hit that subscribe button and leave a message down below. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with the game, and I'm definitely open to listening to your feedback. Now, I won't know how well the game did for 3 months when the grading period ends, so that's all I've got to say for today. I'm going to leave it all here. Link to play the game is first link in the description. You can play it, download it for free, and next week I'll have an update ready to go. So with that said, Elmock out.